overcome depression, legal trouble, and we also promote veteran-owned businesses. If you're talking about it, we're talking about it. This is Charlie Mike, the podcast.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Charlie Mike, the podcast. As always, I'm your host, Raul, and your co-host, William.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's great to be back. It feels like we're getting back into a rhythm, a flow of things. It's exciting times.
It is, man. I'm definitely excited. You know, I get in my moods, man, but I gotta come around. You know more than anybody.
I'm finding out the hard way. Yes, you are moody.
Man.
I mean, you go in your moods.
Well, it's moods, and then sometimes I wake up with migraines, and then it ruins my whole day, man.
Yeah.
You know, and there's only so many things that you can take that are prescribed, and you know, so you know how it goes.
Yeah, it is. But you know, we're back. We're back in a groove. This is the second week in a row. We plan to keep that streak growing for a little while.
Sir.
We've got a lot of interest, and so if you're out there and you're interested in getting in touch with us, coming on the show, sharing your story of adversity, of how you, Charlie Mike, and what that means to you, please contact us.
Right there.
That's right.
William at Charlie Mike, the podcast, and he'll square you away.
That's
man.
right.
Y'all be sure to check us out. Also, we're on CharlieMikeThePodcast.com. We keep you updated and things of that nature. And if you haven't, you guys need to be sure to check out my man William on all his social media platforms, Facebook, IG, TikTok, for your daily motivational videos, man. The shit, I like it. It really does. And I think more people should get eyes on that. How do they follow you on that?
Yeah. My handle on all social is at WGARAY JR. So W Garay Jr. Try to keep it simple, put it out there. Let folks know that there's a whole community of us veterans that are winning. And the best thing I can do is share that, share how my positivity, my outreach, because there's folks out there and we want y'all to know that, we've got your six. I've got your six. I want you to know that we're really here to help. And we love you guys.
Definitely. And as always, y'all be sure to check out Charlie Mike Military Apparel, where right now, if you go through GovX, we're giving 20% off through GovX. And the orders were flying last night.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I think because winter's coming, people are buying the sweatshirts.
Yeah.
So
dude, man, I remember talking about those sweatshirts last year. Yeah. And it was cool. Like, you know what? Let's have some nice colors so that folks can represent their branch. They can represent who they are. And they can know to spread the message to Charlie Mike.
Yep. So be sure to use your GovX account. Teachers, firefighters, police officers, military. I think that's it. Yeah. But be sure to check us out. And you always find us on CharlieMikeMilitaryApparel.com, which is right here. Hey, and if you got any t-shirt ideas, hey, email us also. And we'll figure out a way to work that.
There's definitely something interesting we can do with that,
Yeah.
And I think that'll be fun.
Definitely.
Some good things coming.
Yeah. Oh man, so we got Veterans Day coming up. What you got coming up this weekend?
Man, brother, Veterans Day is so busy, and it's great to see that all these organizations want to host activities and luncheons and breakfasts. But my kids, both of their schools are having something, so I got something in the morning for breakfast, and I have something at lunch, so I'll be with both of them. And then that night, you guys might know that I worked with Impact a Hero, a nonprofit here in Houston, and I'll be at their gala. You're going, right?
I think I'm doing everything you just said.
Yes,
because I'll be in the morning, but I'll be with my nieces.
Oh, cool.
At their school, and then lunchtime we'll be at the same school.
Yeah,
for our kids. Yeah. And then hopefully in the evening we'll be doing the same thing.
Yeah,
we'll see. I gotta check my book.
It's not Monday, bro, so you're good to go.
Yeah, but okay, so there's a lot of things going on this weekend. You be sure to check out y'all's discounts, catch you a free meal. I know a lot of guys like to do that. Some of my favorite places I go to is Roadhouse.
Yeah.
And then man, let's introduce our guest. Y'all notice somebody standing here or sitting here.
Yeah, exactly.
Kicking back with us. Go for it, Will.
It's so much fun to get out in the community because you will find what you're looking for. What you focus on and what you search for is what you will find. And we're on a mission to share the veteran story of resiliency, of the coming up, of giving back to the community. And what an embodiment right here to my right is Mr. Jeremy Robinson, who is a veteran of both wars, Iraq and Afghanistan. And it's yes.
Hey, y'all settle down. Settle down.
Now, Jeremy, man, what year did you get out?
I left in 2009.
Oh, okay. So it's interesting because we all go on a mission to find ourselves when we get out. It gets difficult. We talk about this a lot on the show, and it's not about where you were; it's about what you're doing now. And we're very excited to have you on, have you share about your story, share about what you've got going on for Rally Point 1 or Rally Point, Texas, and we're really excited to hear about it. So, without further ado, share with us something that not everybody else knows about you.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, not everybody knows I just had a kid.
Oh, wow.
My wife had a kid, actually. I suppose.
Like, that's quite a feat.
Yeah. You got to clear that up nowadays,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, right. But yeah, the 25th of September.
Oh,
Very
man,
cool.
Congratulations, man.
Number
My
one?
first baby, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
wow,
the first
bro.
one?
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
You got any money? Because if you do, you don't got any
I know,
anymore.
Man, that's awesome. Congratulations,
Thank
brother.
you.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it really
definitely.
is. It
Boy or girl?
A boy.
Yeah, that's
Little-
good.
Little Barrett Owen Robinson.
Dang, I got 2 girls, man. You don't
Yeah.
want 2 girls.
No. I was praying for a boy from John.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely. And he's got
I got 3 girls
variety.
and a boy. Yeah, I do. I
Yeah.
love them. Kids are amazing, man. They put a lot of stuff in perspective, and they appreciate you.
They tell you how it is too.
Oh man, you cannot hide kids.
Mhm.
they don't have a barrier or a
They
muzzle.
don't. They don't. My daughter called me last night, Layla, and we were FaceTime, and she goes, "Dad, you know who you remind me of?" I said, "No, who?" She said, "Cleveland Brown Jr." I said, "That little fat kid?" She says, "Yeah." I was like, "Man, I ain't talking to you no more." And you're grounded. Yeah.
She came at you personally.
Yeah, man. I was like, I see what you say.
So, Jeremy, share with us a little bit of your backstory. You know, where are you from? Where'd you grow up, and what kind of how'd you led you into the military?
Well, I was born and raised in Texas.
Yeah.
Born in Dallas, and of course, never lived there. But my mom went down there to have me, so that was nice of her. And then I was raised up around North Texas. My mom was a single mom, and spent a lot of my childhood living with her and both her parents. So my maternal grandfather was really kind of the male role model for a guy growing up in the 90s and early 2000s. You know, when your male role model is a guy who ran away at 15 and went to work the docks in Galveston and then got drafted to Korea and been a truck driver for 40 years and baling hay, and like that guy, he's pretty tough.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But
So your grandfather was in Korea.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was that a big influence for you joining the military?
It's one of the things. I mean, growing up, uncles, cousins, him, everybody really on that side of the family, if they didn't serve, then somebody, they're probably a dependent, you know? So my whole childhood, I knew that was probably the route I was going to take. Pre-adolescence, I thought I was going to fly jets.
Yeah.
You know? And then 9/11 happened. Of course, that put it all in stone. And then joined up in 2003.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
37.
You're 37. Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
Oh, so you joined in 2003. Was that right after you graduated?
Right after you.
Actually, before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was, I raised a little hell in high school.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and right about the time I got my driver's license was when the hells really started getting raised. So at 17, I was self-aware enough to know that I needed to go somewhere, that my discipline was slacking. And so I joined the National Guard because they were the only ones that would take me. I'd been talking with an Army recruiter, and I was waiting, but then the hell got a little too raised. So I knew I didn't need to wait till I was out of high school.
Yeah.
And went to basic that summer between junior and senior year, came back, finished high school, went back to Fort Knox for AIT, joined to be a cavalry scout.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that was going to be my question. We all want to know.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, I wrapped up AIT, and inside of a year, I was in Afghanistan.
Dang.
Yeah.
Early.
Pretty quick.
So this is this is 2003 still, or is this 2004?
2005.
Oh, wow.
Was when I landed there.
I got you.
Yeah. Right at the beginning of summer, May. Got home midsummer in 08.
You got hit with that 15-month?
Yeah.
I think we all did, actually. Everybody sitting at this table.
Yeah, it was going around this time. And, and what we're talking to is a 15-month deployment. They had just extended it, and the Army is unique that way. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how long the Air Force deployed, but Navy Marines is usually about 6 months, maybe 9.
I think 3 months, man. I want to say 3 months. Shit, to me, it looked like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
You're like, you guys just got here. What the
hey, to be clear, the National Guard has that mobilization time.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So we spent 2.5 months for that deployment at Fort Hood. And then
training.
Right. And train up for our mission. And then we spent all that 2.5 months training for a mission. Then they changed it about 3 days before we got to country.
Sounds about right.
So yeah, that was fun. And then about 13 months in country.
Yeah.
Right about on the dot.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I see how that all adds up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can actually remember, like, we would, we caught friends with a couple of Air Force guys and Navy guys that at different, posts and outposts or whatever. And we used to be like, man, they're like, we're leaving. I was like, oh, cool. Hey, have fun at home.
Yeah.
Take it easy. And then they come back, in like 6 months or whatever. And they'd be like, oh, man, you're back too. I was like, I never left.
This is bullshit.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. No, those are fun because those are where the combat stress teams come from.
Yeah.
After every engagement, those people come to see you, and it's some 20-year-old that been there for 2.5 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leaving in 2 more.
Yeah.
You're going to sit here and talk to me about my combat stress. Okay.
Yeah, that's always a good one. Or you get that brand new LT middle of deployment.
Oh, man.
Come in there thinking he knows everything because he played Call of Duty.
Hey, they taught them people a lot at school. That's what they told me.
I was waiting for the punchline.
I have a dry sense of humor, and it's
yeah, man. So tell us more about your military.
So I came home 2006, and again, still in the Guard. So they send you home. You go through like your out processing, right? You get a DD-214, and then you go back to your home unit. Which I didn't deploy with my home unit, so I go back, and I don't know any of those people anymore. Then they give you about 3 months off. Say, don't come back.
Yeah.
And so I was in the Guard for 6 years, and I never did that 2-week annual training.
Shit.
Not once, because it was I was always either on deployment or just got back.
Yeah.
So it was interesting, and I did what I thought I was supposed to do. Right. I came home and I enrolled in school. I was going to go. I went to Tarleton State, and I didn't understand at the time what I was really going through. I was drinking way too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to school, and of course didn't slow down because, that's encouraged. And
you were how old?
21.
Oh, you were still a baby though.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. But I was a 21-year-old freshman at a college in a dry town, so I was pretty popular.
Yeah. But
I stayed home for right at a year. I had been faced with this kind of decision. My unit was going to go to Afghanistan. Of course, I had already been to Afghanistan. So they came to me and they were like, well, there's a different unit going to Iraq. You can go with them. I was like, yeah, I'll go see a different country. So I go and I do that. Same deal. Mobilization, another 12, 13 months in country. Did the same mission that basically everybody in Iraq did.
Yeah.
We escort convoys. And then by the time, honestly, like when I had joined, I planned on doing that 20 years. I planned on following the path that my family had laid out for me. But by the time I was done with Iraq, I was pretty well, I was not interested.
So what year was this that you went to Iraq?
07 to 08.
All right. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
I was there at that time too.
Yeah, where about were you?
Home was Talil Airfield down south.
Hmm.
And then, our escorts would go up to Baghdad.
Yeah.
Everywhere in between. So that was an interesting year.
So what are some of the differences that you can see between Afghanistan mission and the Iraq mission? Personally, not like overall or
Right.
whether we were good or there, just for you in a day in your life, what were some of the differences? Because Rollo and I both went to Iraq, so I don't know what Afghanistan's like.
Right. Well, for me, Afghanistan was an entirely different animal. 2005, the rules of engagement were way different than they were in 2007. Not going to say way different. It was just that there were a few more measures on the non-lethal side by the time 2007 came along. They came out with them little pin flares and all kinds of stuff. We didn't have that in Afghanistan, so we were, I watched a gunner hit somebody with a slingshot one time.
You gotta
just so because he knew he didn't need to hurt him.
Yeah.
But, needed to get him out of the way. Those kinds of things were happening in 05. So it was definitely different in that sense. And my mission was entirely different. Like I say, they changed our mission right before we got there. My company was sitting around really for like 3 weeks waiting on a new mission after we got to Afghanistan. We sat there at Bagram Airfield. And for like 3 weeks, just nothing to do. And then they assigned us to, it was kind of a 3-part mission, a quick reaction force, normally inserted via Chinook or Blackhawks. And then we had a mounted quick reaction force on Humvees. Of course, we didn't have any armor at the time, but we were doing that. And then they would give us kind of 2 weeks in the guard towers there at Bagram Airfield.
Yeah, right.
So we did this 2 weeks at a time rotation thing, and it was an entirely different beast, Then you go to Iraq, and it's like, all right, we're just gonna drive. we're just gonna drive, and we're gonna do that until somebody picks a fight.
Yeah,
and then we're gonna fight, and then we're gonna drive.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, that is pretty accurate. Hey, and he speaks of the ROE, man. When we were there, I don't know how it was for you because y'all were more ground, right?
Yeah.
So when I was a gunner, so it was like, you had to yell. They at one point I remember waving a flag, like they would give us this highlighter flag, and then you would shoot a pin flare, and there was like so many things to do before you could actually, engage. It was ridiculous, man. At one point,
it was one of the things where I was happy to have the tool. That was great. I was not happy about being interrogated about my use of the tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely.
It was an interesting deal. So then by the time I got back, I was pretty well disengaged, and I spent my last few months just passing everything I could to the younger guys. And then I went to that January of 2009 formation, and there was no bye, there was no well wish, there was no nothing. It was like, all right, drill's over, end of formation, I go home, And
And that sucks, let me pause and recognize your service, man. I really appreciate that.
Sure.
And I appreciate you sharing that. No, it's not the thing that should be glossed over, because I've been treated poorly in units leaving. And it's like, man, it sucks. It sucks to give that much to a unit and then not get a thank you or a good job or, hey man, we appreciate your service. But I can say on the other end, on this side now, that there's a lot more recognition coming from that. But it just really sucks at the time, man. So again, with Veterans Day coming around, we really appreciate all you guys that served. And thank you for your service, man. That's underestimated that your unit didn't do anything. It sucks. But again, part of the story.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. After that was when I moved down to this part of Texas. Hurricane Ike had happened half a year beforehand, and I figured this is where the work was. So I moved directly down to Galveston. Got me my first post-military job, working at a resort in the maintenance department.
In Galveston?
Yeah.
All right.
It was. It's no longer in existence anymore as a timeshare down there, but they since been bought out. I was there for about a year and a half, and I was the only one, I think, in their company history to move from the maintenance department to like the VIP coordinator, which is
cool.
basically like your member services, the people that have bought timeshare. You just make sure they're happy. So that was a little like early display, I guess, of my aptitude for promotion.
So what was that like, going from the military and especially leaving that unit the way you did to working in a civilian force? What are some of the pitfalls that you saw?
I think everybody has to adjust to a lack of attention to detail, a lack of professionalism in general, a lack of just motivation at work. I mean, all these things. Like, you go and you work around these people, and it's they seem like they're barely even there.
Yeah. Just doing what you got to do, clock in, clock out.
Yeah, and then they're gonna act sideways, talk to their boss crazy 3 times a day, and you're just like, hey, let's move forward. Let's get it done. Whatever it is, I don't care if we're digging ditches or selling cars. Like, you came to work. I think for me that was a big hang up. Not to say that service members don't complain.
Yeah.
That's right.
But we do so while we're working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, digging this ditch sucks.
Yeah.
Shut up. Keep digging it.
Yeah.
I am.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
That for me was a big hang up. Just the overall approach to the workplace. And then I bounced around from job to job for a hot minute after I left there. And then at some point I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go back to cowboy. I kind of gave up on the civilian workforce.
Yeah.
I just kind of left and started working arenas, started working for different ranchers, just making making the ends meet. Really, I wasn't making any big moves.
Yeah.
I was just putting money on the table and keeping things going for a long time. Almost became homeless a few times. And truth be told, I mean, I have a great family. They're not made of money or anything, but they're great.
They're local?
They moved down here. So
Because of you?
Actually, they moved down shortly before me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. My mom was a social worker at the time. She got offered a gig down there at University of Texas.
Okay. Yeah,
So
yeah.
they went down there for that. And anyhow, they were the ones that pretty well kept me on my feet. I got injured a few times. Old military injuries creeped up, and I got to where I couldn't work. And I mean, they were the ones that kept me going.
I've heard a great quote like this for, especially now that you're a father, is a parent's responsibility is not to be a parachute for you. So when you start to fall, to kind of keep you going, the parent's responsibility is to be a net. Is to let you fall, but to make sure. And when you're get all the way to the bottom, they've got you still.
Right.
And I know I feel that with my parents too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
even most of my family, it's like they're not really around me, but if I absolutely need something, they'll be there. So I try to take that concept to mind with my kids, and kind of try to let them fall a little bit.
Yeah.
Not be a helicopter parent.
Right.
So and that's I kind of that's what I kind of hear you saying is your family did that for you.
They did very much. I mean, truth be told, if it wasn't for them, I don't know what would happen.
Yeah, that's understandable. I think a lot of us are in the same situation.
Yeah.
Or feel the same way. Well, most of us.
You know, hopefully by now I've paid it back to them. I mean, since then, of course, my grandfather passed, and my grandmother passed just a few months ago, a couple of months ago. So we had her living with us for probably the last year and a half,
Wow.
taking care of her, and we had hospice there towards the end coming in to take care of her, and you know, so hopefully I repaid my debt a little bit to her. Not that she ever thought there was a debt, but
Yeah.
But it's also a blessing to be able to do that, you know, especially for someone that you said you lived with as a young child,
Yeah.
and help raise you, to be able to do that towards the end of their lives. Just to say, you know, and especially with all that you've got going on now, you know, she was there to witness, right, the stand up of all this. So it's very humbling. I can imagine that.
No, it absolutely is. Absolutely is. You know, I guess to get to what we're doing now, I mean, along the way, I'd say since 2009, I've met people, I've worked with people that along the way didn't have the support team that I did. Um, you know, I've had some people that, you know, you do everything for them. You may not let them come and live on your couch, right? But you try. You try to go out there and you talk to them a couple times a week, and I started building a couple of relationships like that probably early on, 2013, 14, and that's whenever the veteran homelessness issue really started kind of hitting in my mind. As we look at that time frame, when from our childhood, we think of veteran homelessness from our childhood as being like your Vietnam guys, right?
Yeah.
And the statistics bear that was the case right until about the time I got out, or the time we all really got out. 2009, 2010, the federal reports from 2010 indicated that over half of that homeless veteran population at that time were the OEF, OIF troops. So within a decade of war, we went from the vast majority of homeless veterans being retirees to the majority of veterans being us. You know,
that's very hard to hear. That, you know, we have all these, when we see homelessness everywhere, but that over half of them were veterans.
Well, no. I mean that over half of the veteran homeless population were our generation.
Got you.
So out of the hundreds of thousands of homeless people, you're dealing with a few dozen thousand that are veterans. And in that time frame, over half of those
I got you.
became us. You saw, you know, the graphs for year to year in those studies, you saw it go up. It had been kind of trending down in the early 2000s. And then around 2008, 2009, you see it trending back up. And that's where we came in. We being, you know, all of us post 9/11 veterans. That said, I went further along the way. Back in 2017, I got a buddy of mine I deployed with. He started a security company of his own. He's still in business, veteran-owned security company, Janissary Security and Investigation. Shout out to you guys. When we got a contract with the city of Houston, we needed to staff that with like 40 new security officers that we didn't have. And so we reached out to a handful of these NGOs, VSOs that we had networked with, and were able to find 40 veterans in the Houston area who were experiencing housing instability. Many of them were living in short-term housing there downtown. So that was a great experience, just like bringing on, truth be told, we probably onboarded like 60, to staff 30 because we knew.
Mm-hmm.
But to meet all those people, interview them, onboard them, and then work with them for a good long while after, that was an interesting experience. You got to see these Houston area veterans. You got to hear their stories. You got to hear how they. Sorry, let me.
No, go ahead.
So, if you just popped in, and Jeremy is taking us through his journey to get involved with homeless veterans, and we just briefly covered that in 2008 there was an increase where you're seeing more and more veterans post 9/11 take up that population of being homeless. So go ahead and continue with where you were.
Right. All that to say that was just a great experience, meeting those people and hearing their stories, and kind of, at the end of the day, I gave a job,
Right.
but that was the most that I could do for them at the time. That and just talking to them every day and counseling and just trying to be a mentor. But all that experience kind of reinforced this idea that I wanted to help somehow or another. And I've been building it ever since. So earlier this year, I started RP1 Texas. That's RP-1, Texas. RP1texas.org is our website there. Of course, the mission is to end veteran homelessness. And it's a big plan. It's kind of multifaceted. we could probably sit here and talk for a while about it. But what I've done is broken it down into phases, so that in the beginning of phase one, you're basically establishing infrastructure. You're buying property. You're building what you need. You're putting in electricity. You're putting in water. Once those foundational things are there, we're building a homestead. All right. Homesteading or sustainable agriculture, regenerative agriculture, whatever you want to call it these days. It's had a lot of names, but those practices that people are coming up with nowadays, not only can they regenerate topsoil, meaning that topsoil is what gives life to all your plants. That's what gives life to everything. These practices can regenerate that on a place that's been overfed or overgrazed, as well as improving the density of the grass on any given tract of land. So we can build a thing that sustains itself. Not only sustains the animals that live there, but sustains the people that are raising those animals. So and to me, that's instrumental. It's when you're dealing with animals every day, you start your day, you get up and you play with rabbits.
Right.
Like that, it doesn't get great overnight, but that is phenomenal for your mental health. Just dealing with animals. For some people, they get a lot out of raising plants. I don't. I'm not great at it, but dealing with animals and nursing them, raising them from birth, hatching eggs, being involved in these processes, it's understated. And you can't, unless you've done it, you really, I don't think, can understand it, but it helps us for sure.
We just got in contact with somebody out in Missouri, I believe, very similar, different mission, but they were working with veterans to do agriculture. And And so what I hear you saying is it's a way for us to get back to who we are as people, uh, as we're in the community, working the land that we grow, being a part of the animals' lives, birthing them, even gardening. And for me, this relates to a book I just read called Ikigai, right? It's a Japanese word, Ikigai, Ikigai. And what it is, it's their word for being one, or like being with your passion, right? And so they have a reason or meaning for life. And, and a lot of it for them comes from this, would be gardening, living in a community. So the study is based in Japan, and it's on in Okinawa, which is where they have some of the oldest living people, right? Like centurions, super centurions, like 120, 125 years old. And how do we get that? Well, they have a community of folks that all help each other. They more than likely tend to their gardens, and they exercise. And so it sounds like you're trying to bring something like that to help phase out the homelessness in Texas.
Now combine all that with living in the barracks, right?
Yeah.
You're with your buddies every day. And we've all, I think, been in some form of group therapy, right? Group therapy works mainly because you learn real quick that you're not the only one going through problems like you. That you share those problems with a whole bunch of other people. That's why group therapy works. Now, if you're living with your buddies, is that not group therapy? You're getting group therapy 24 hours a day. That way, when we do, go to our hour and a half of structured curriculum in group therapy, you're diving even deeper. You're not having to break down a bunch of the walls that you would under normal circumstances, because you already know these dudes, you know? So in that environment, we can take the therapies that exist and I believe compound upon those.
It also reminds me a lot of just like monkhood, right? Where you go and live in this culture of these people who are trying to do more. It's the community, and that's really intriguing that you say that, being part of the barracks, but also having like a driver to just become more of one, and it's like a holistic approach, right? That's very interesting to me.
Yeah,
thank you,
man. It's a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a ton, and that's why I talk to people, and a lot of people only have like 5 minutes to explain stuff, and then they get kind of overwhelmed real fast.
Right. Yeah.
But
So, what would you say is the overall mission for RP1, though? I mean, maybe that's one way we can help you break it down.
So plainly put, the in veteran homelessness, right? How do we go about it? You do everything I just said, and you do that with and among a network of other organizations. All right. Now, I don't know everybody at every organization, but the way that I envision this is when Camp Valor or Camp Hope or any other organization out there is maybe feeling overfull, they can call me. We'll transition those beds. By the same token, if I've got somebody, I want to do this kind of out in the middle of nowhere, right? If I've got somebody who maybe isn't getting everything that their peers are from our services, right? Hey, Camp Valor does a concentrated curriculum on XYZ. Go see them.
Yeah.
By the same token, back to raising food. I hear all kinds of things about the costs that some of these organizations are incurring when they're trying to help our peer group. And I believe that what I'm doing and what I want to do can and will decrease their food costs. All right. Because I can raise food at a surplus. I can raise food way more than we need. What's stopping me from being able to make sure that these other organizations have their staples? So building that network and having those kind of symbiotic relationships, that's how we end it. It's not a sustainable homestead. It's not equine therapy. It's not the camaraderie or the entrepreneurship program or the mentoring that I want to do. It's none of those. It's that combined with an entire network of organizations that have been doing this for the last 50 years. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It makes sense. Where, man, so you said you've been working on this a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So you got something coming up, Veterans Day.
Yes.
And let's talk a little bit about that.
Oh man. So Veterans Day, what's it? 2 days?
Yep.
Friday.
3 days?
Yeah.
This is going to air
Oh.
on the Marine Corps birthday, November 10th. So happy birthday, Marines. But yes, this is pre-recorded. You know, I mean, if you don't give them a shout out, they'll let you know it's our birthday of the day.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
Yes. Happy birthday, Marines. I had no idea that we were going to do this on National Crayon Day.
So yes, but on November 11th, dear me, what do you have going on?
So I'm going to leave on what I've dubbed the Ride for Rally Point. Obviously, RP1 stands for Rally Point 1 for the civilian audience. So the Ride for Rally Point, hashtag RFRP, if you look that up, it's going to be a 1,000-mile ride, me and my horse. I've got a 5-year-old Spanish Barb stud named Trooper. And he's a gorgeous horse, which I'm hoping tons of people just love looking at him, right? But we're going to take off. We're going to go up there to Huntsville to that giant Sam Houston statue on the side of the road. And I've already cleared it with them. We're going to stage there Veterans Day morning and take off about 8 in the morning. And we'll head out east. If you envision just the state of Texas, we don't have a picture up or anything, but if you envision the state of Texas, we'll head out east from there and then make our way north through those piney woods, all the state parks, national parks over there in East Texas. And then we cross back west, cross 45 there at Corsicana, cross I-35 at Hillsboro, head up to Stephenville, and then back down southwest out to Brownwood. South of that, we finally cut back east. We go through the hill country, hit Fredericksburg, Johnson City, head down to Pedernales State Park, and then follow Barton Creek, I think on the west side of Austin. We'll follow that kind of nature trail right into downtown.
Wow.
So that'll be 1,000 miles. It'll take between, as it stands now, weather permitting and all things go right, or we make up time, between 45 and 50 days.
Oh, wow.
So
on average, how far do you think you expect to get per day?
we're planning an average of 20 miles a day.
I guess I could have done the math, but it's too hard for me.
Yeah, that's okay.
20 miles a day.
So right now we're looking at a picture of your horse, Trooper. So that's Trooper, the Ride for Rally Point.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And this is where he was talking about the statue of Sam Houston is where they'll be November 11th. Well, tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they'll be there from it says so you're gonna SP anywhere from 8 to 10?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Planned SP is 8. Of course, right now I think the crowd gathering there is very small. So we'll probably leave close to 8.
Cool. Well, man, that's
And tell us why.
My peer group is incredibly important to me. I've come to this point in my life where as many programs and as many support systems and as many spots on the news or the radio or what have you that veterans get, I am still dissatisfied. I did bring some numbers that tell you why I'm dissatisfied. The overall homeless population in the USA is like hundreds of thousands. In Texas, we have just under 30,000. And these numbers are according to 2020 You can find them at endhomelessness.org, the National Alliance to End Homelessness. Now, as far as veteran homelessness in particular, nationwide, they're looking at 37,252. That is, by my estimations, around 40 battalions worth of us running around homeless or unstable in the United States. Out of all those, 15,204 of them don't have shelter. Another 22,048 do have shelter. In Texas alone, and we rank third in the nation behind California and Florida, but we have 1,948 homeless brothers and sisters. There's cause for celebration because, since 2007, we saw that rise happen. And at the highest, I think it was 2011, we've cut that down by about 46%. And that's great news.
Mm-hmm.
There's still 2,000 of us running around Texas without a place to sleep. And I look at that and I say, okay, what are people doing? I look at all the programs. I look at what works. I look at what doesn't. There's reports that 83 communities in 3 states have declared a victory against veteran homelessness. All right. In Texas alone, I'll tell you, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and Abilene have all declared that they have won the battle.
Austin, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's unfortunate because it's more of a government saying, hey, our
mission complete.
Yeah, our mission is great. We're doing, look at us. And for us, one veteran homeless is a battle lost.
Right. That's the way we're trained, right? So that's the way we look at it. That to me is unacceptable.
And you're 100% right.
So that's what I'm up against. That's why I'm doing it. Is because one other thing, I am super blessed. Both my deployments, I deployed with infantry units, combat missions, all that good jazz. And we made it home without anybody, at least in my companies, both deployments, nobody got killed. Since we got home, I've lost just under 20 friends.
Wow.
So, that's every time we got to go to a funeral, I look at this mission.
Yeah, that the mission against homelessness, veteran homelessness, and then the reason we started this was because of the suicide prevention, and the numbers are insane.
Yeah.
I think they tell you, like the normal person, what they say anywhere between 17 to 22 veterans, when in all actuality the numbers are a lot higher than that. In the daily.
Here lately, I've been hearing 44.
Yeah,
a lot.
And we were all just recently at a luncheon or graduation, and the speaker said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I had heard that before, and I believe it was on Military Times. I could look it up, but they said that they're not counting correctly, much like your homelessness number, right? Like, hey, we're declaring victory, we're beating it, but they're not counting the overdose on prescription medications or prescription drugs or some of the other overdoses. And if you were to count those as suicides, then the rate would go up higher. So it could be because of the way it's reporting, that reports say that it's lower. But though with the veteran community, that it's still at an all-time high, and we've got to check on each other. And with that, know that if you are in crisis at this moment or ahead of time where you know somebody, the number is 988. And if you are a military veteran, press 1. So the crisis hotline is 988. And if you're a veteran, press 1.
Yes, that is definitely it. And I truly believe, man, that they don't put out the right numbers because they don't want people to know.
Well, there's something to be said for that. And it's when we talk about suicide, so kind of like y'all brought up, a lot of times it's dangerous behavior. It's for a lot of my friends, the ones that I've lost, a lot of them didn't intentionally leave us, but they've been living this dangerous behavior. They've been going out and doing things that we all know we're not supposed to do, and it turns out bad for them. Alternatively, sometimes we lose friends. Man, I don't even know if I want to get into that, but I already stepped in it now.
Yeah.
I lost a friend when he was having a bad night. He was dealing with PTSD. He drank a little too much that night. The cops showed up at his house, and he didn't survive that interaction. Okay, that's all I'll really say. But stuff like that happens. We don't lump those into suicide numbers, of course, right? But I'm here to tell you from my personal experience, it's there. And the homelessness, I look at instability. I look at people that are living together. You're couch surfing. You're maybe not out here taking part in programs. You're not going to the food banks. You're not getting counted when these people make their rounds once a year because you're living on your buddy's couch. So when they say 1,900 in Texas, I'm looking at it and going, well,
yeah.
I wish I could end on a better note other than
no, you're good.
No, I think that, for me, it brings it full circle. I mean, we started out the show talking about what we've got going on and how I do share motivational stuff, but I feel it's my responsibility to share the good things that are going on within the community, and especially what's working for me. Like, I have more of a mission now because I am happy. I am okay. I'm a little further away from that, but you have to work it. Like, it is constant. We have to work our stuff. And I'm not in the, what is it? I'm not in the steps for recovery from alcohol, but actually when this airs on Saturday, I'll be on the 12th, I'll be a year sober. One year sober. Thanks, man. It's pretty cool, man. Yeah. And I've shared that a little bit. Thanks. But I want you
I'm sorry.
I want you to know that I share that stuff because it's important, because I'm working on me every day. And you mentioned it just briefly, not in getting involved in programs, but it's also just getting involved with our community, and that's what we're trying to do here at Charlie Mike, is make sure that you got to get involved. You got to self-identify as a veteran business owner. You got to turn to not just one organization, but all the organizations for any type of help. And then you'll find guys just like us here, or within your own community and gals that are doing amazing things and are successful, but you have to put yourself in there.
Definitely proof that you can have setbacks, but you can still overcome those setbacks. It's amazing to just witness that and hear the stories. So you guys, you be sure to check out www.rp1texas.org. That's it right there. So be sure to.
Can I get one little call to action?
Do what you want.
We talked about the Ride for Rally Point. One of the things I'm going to do is up my social media game. All right?
Heck yeah.
So we're talking, as far as, I want to do 2, maybe 3 live videos a day. I want to put all sorts of content out there. I love history. When I'm traveling around Texas, I'm reading the heck out of them historical markers.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make videos about it.
Cool.
I'm going to do live videos on the ride, during it, like physically riding, but also at the end of the day, just sit down and actually be able to read comments. All those things are planned. So please, all social medias at RP1 Texas. Every one of them now, YouTube got their handles right. So, at RP1 Texas, we'll be putting it out everywhere we can. rp1texas.org /fundraising is the page for the ride itself. There's donate, there's contribute, there's all sorts of ways to support our mission on that website.
Yep. I mean, if this resonates with you, take a look. You know, your viewership counts, your likes, your shares, your comments. And he said he's going to be very active. So if you're moved by any of this, know that he does leave on November 11th. He's going to be out traveling for 45 to 50 days. That's at least 45 to 50 videos. He's going to do a couple of times a day readings, you know, and give him some feedback. Let him know that you're out there supporting him, because this ride is for all of us.
Yes.
You know, we all want to do more. He's capable of doing it. And so he's stepping up his game and going to do that. So we really appreciate that.
So right now we're on the website. So you saw me, I clicked on fundraising. It's countdown. He's got 1,000-mile horseback ride in 1 day and 17 hours. And it's all right here, guys. And if people wanted to donate, what's the best way they could do that?
Well, there on that page, you're going to see buttons for your donating options. There, you can do it right through the website. We're hosted by Squarespace. So if you don't trust Squarespace, you don't trust me, we have PayPal linked up.
That's a bad one too.
You know,
Yeah.
There's we have an online shop. There's RP1 apparel. There's bags and gear, kitchen stuff. That's on Facebook and on the website.
Oh, cool.
And
I got a backpack. Woo.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are I designed these mainly to kind of act as a care package.
Wait.
So you can buy these and try to like put some
Okay, now.
boom
Yeah.
some water or all your care package out.
Yeah. Whatever they put in them.
Yeah.
We'll put you together with the Blue Star Moms now that we got context.
Some deodorant, some whatever,
Yeah.
and have that in your car handy to give somebody that needs it.
I like that.
That's awesome. I love that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. And you're also a member of the great Houston Regional Veteran Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
sir.
Yes, sir. They're doing
That's right.
phenomenal things over
Yeah.
Right.
Those are some of our good friends,
Yeah.
man. We absolutely adore them.
So I gotta ask, my final question for you is, what does Charlie Mike mean to you?
Well, of course, it means continue mission.
Oh,
It means drive on.
Yeah.
It means every adversity is your lesson for the next thing. That's what it means.
man, that was every adversity means your lesson.
There you
Man,
go.
that's good.
Shit, we should just end it there.
Hey.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for having me.
No, man, we appreciate you. And hey, it's kind of funny that we know each other.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. It took us a minute to realize it, but we do. So with that, you guys, thank you for always supporting us. Charlie Mike, you guys be sure to check out Rally Point 1 Texas. That's the website.
RP1 Texas.
Excuse me, rp1texas.org.
Yeah.
And let's follow Jeremy on his mission journey. Yeah. Definitely. And as always, be sure to like, share, subscribe. If you haven't yet, man, tell a friend about this.
Yeah.
Tell a friend about Charlie Mike, the podcast, and maybe buy a shirt from Charlie Mike Military Apparel.
Shirt of the month.
Yeah.
It's okay to not be okay.
It's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
And man, I love wearing that damn shirt, man.
And then with Veterans Day being here too, I know it's a day to celebrate, but check on your friends. Send that text out, tag them, let them know that you appreciate their service, man. And we appreciate you guys out there, all that you guys do for us, all you guys do for each other. That's what we love to see, really, the community coming together. You guys are fantastic.
Enjoy your day. As always, thank you. And Charlie Mike.